Who told you that?
I have my sources.
No, who the fuck told you that?
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. I've talked about it on a few other ones of this, but a goal of mine this season is to try to broaden, hardcore and punk and DIY will always be our bread and butter, but I'm trying to connect to the other branches, to the other subgenres that clearly, the stuff that we are born and raised on is connected to. And that's my guest today. And, definitely as we're kind of starting to do a few more pop punk-esque interviews and featuring those bands, this band specifically is one of those that is like, to me, very self-aware of the things in the pop punk space that are a little corny or cornballery. But I feel like the way that they carry themselves is very much the way that a hardcore band would carry themselves. Not, and at the same time, there's tons of cornball hardcore bands, but without any more egregious comparisons as cornballery goes, please welcome the guy who said the thing at Hold Your Ground that I can't say in replace of the thing that we all, or most of us can't say, Jordan Black of Life Pacific. Thanks for joining me, my friend.
Of course, that's like the fucking funniest intro. To the point where, like, yeah, it's the guy who said the thing. I hold your ground. It's like, hold right off the fucking gate.
Right. Yeah. Just something else you can add to your, your DIY resume of all things.
It'll be. I'm gonna put it in my fucking Instagram bio next to like ADHD or something. I don't know. Something.
But yeah, Jordan, really excited to have you. I think we officially met at Hold Your Ground.
Yeah,
no, that's not even true. We go
met
back even
before.
further. Yeah.
We talked longer at Hold Your Ground, but we go
Correct.
back further. Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, no, because then the second time would have been the second time would have been Hold Your Ground. You're right. Okay.
So the first time I saw Like Pacific was when you guys played in Winnipeg, and that was before Scoped even started. So we're like
Was that at the ballroom or something yet?
the Park Theater.
Park Theater, and it was like that wooden room with the big stage. That place is cool. I like that.
It's my favorite Winnipeg venue, sound wise, vibe wise. I haven't been there in a number of years, and they totally took out that back wall. So it's just a giant, like it goes the front door of the building, you can see that from the stage now.
No, fuck. Oh, because I remember it's like right to the side you go and you're walking in, and does the floor go down or some shit?
Yes.
That's what it does. Okay, because I remember like like it was like the end of tour, right? There was like 4 days left after like Warped and shit like that, and I remember like standing on the floor being like, "This fucking hurts." Like the ankle's hurting my foot.
Well, there used to be another venue in Winnipeg called the Garrick Center that had an even more slanted stage, and like it's like double the cap. It's crazy.
Is the Garrick Center still there?
No, it didn't survive pandemic stuff.
Pandemic? Okay, because I feel like I saw something about that on the internet because that sounds familiar. Because I was wondering if we played that before, but I was like, we don't think we ever have.
Yeah, but like, long time ago, and I was originally connected to Luke, who plays guitar, and it was and I was able to see you guys, and again, it was before Scope even started, so I think the Like Pacific sets or videos that I filmed were just under like my personal YouTube channel, which I think they might be unlisted at this point, but I'm not even sure. And that's not even just on your guys'. It's just like I think I unlisted a lot of things on my personal side because I was trying to get work at the time, and everyone's like, "You only film bands," so
of course, yeah. I know you mean you're trying to make it like appeal to the masses, obviously, when you're in that line of work,
right?
And trying to get jobs and shit. So
right, but like I think musically and the way you guys carry yourselves and all of that is like, like I said in the intro, is a reason that I wanted to have you on. And then I think the debacle at Hold Your Ground was like, okay, like let's do this. Which is funny because the day of recording this is when they announced the dates for 2023. So it's very serendipitous of all those.
Yeah, this was meant to be like this way. It was supposed to go this way.
I guess so. But Jordan, as you know, before we get into the music chats, we have to check some beverages. So tell me what you got.
I've been hiding it. I've been wanting to take a sip so fucking bad, but I'm else hide it.
So tell me what you're gonna be sipping on.
I got a strawberry Fruitopia fountain drink from McDonald's because I live behind the McDonald's and I don't eat the food there necessarily, but I love fucking getting this like 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal, but I'm like, I could just go buy Fruitopia from the store, but that's not fun. I don't know.
No, it's got to come straight from the
from the fountain. I need to see that.
That's sitting in the back there. That's connected.
Yeah, I need to see clear red. I need to see that, or it's not real.
Right. Like, is there any bad McDonald's in your neck of the woods in the Toronto GTA?
Yeah, Queen Spadina.
Oh, is that the one you live by?
No, I live in the East End, so I live one near like Gerrard Square. But like,
okay.
The one at Queen Spadina is like that place caused COVID, and for sure, the first case. It just fucking sucks. Like it's just like you're guaranteed to go there and like get in an argument with someone or like. So many fights at that fucking place when I was like 20 years old with my friends because you would just walk in drunk and then you would just like get a drink and then someone would ask you a question and then we're all 20 and we're cocky and then we just like became a problem. So I was like, I'll never go to that fucking McDonald's again in my life.
Right. Yeah. There are times where I am not a Google review person. And I think there's a certain like breed of people that are like, oh, yeah. I need the world to know how my experience at Olive Garden was, because it was one star, whatever.
I feel like sorry, keep going.
No, I was just gonna say there was a new McDonald's that I've moved now, but at our old place it was like, oh, now it's not. Now instead of 10 minutes, it's 5 or whatever it was, and we went to it, and I think we were sitting in like just pull over here for like over 10 minutes. And
like they're like, hey, you ordered your food and like, hey, it's not ready yet.
And we got like fries and a drink. It wasn't even like we're ordering for the fucking band.
Were they fresh as hell when you got the fries though, or no?
No, it was underwhelming. It was enough time that I looked at my wife and I'm like, is this where we do the first ever negative Google review? And we opened it and it was like, it felt like it was updating live. Like people were live, updating. Hey, I'm in the drive-thru right now, also waiting, and this.
I could see the guy pulling up the review thing on his phone through his rear view. I'm also in the parking lot. I fucking was not. Dude, the Google review stuff is funny as hell. Like someone at my work, so the chef at my work, we have like a really small kitchen at the bar, and like this like fucking asshole dude who was like dumbass fedora came in, and he was like. Probably like 50, 60, like old money. Like he's probably, I think his wife is like in her 60s and she's got like a lot of money and they live down the street and he's just like a fucking asshole. And he came in the first time, I guess, and he ordered food and like for some fucking reason, he like decided like, oh, that burger was really good. I'm gonna go tell the fucking kitchen. He like literally got up out of his chair, like opened the kitchen and went into our fucking kitchen and I looked at our chef and our chef's like, what the hell are you doing in here? And he was like, you guys make the pickles in-house? And we're like, what? And he's like, you guys make the pickles in house? And I'm like in the kitchen, I'm like, what the fuck? And then like he's like, man, you gotta get out of here. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Right. And he leaves. The Google review was like 1 star. It was like, great burger. I just want to know about the pickles. And I asked the chef and he was very rude.
Oh my God. He duped you because he couldn't have backdoor access.
I'm going to use this advantage of like me having like background space to show you how it happened. Like, let's say the kitchen starts like fucking here.
Sure.
He like all the way in. He was like, it's pretty cool in here. Do you guys make the pickles? I was like, what the fuck? You walk like 20 feet into the fucking kitchen. You're standing by the fryer.
It's like, bro. Get a hairnet on or something. We have.
The fedora was hiding. The fedora was hiding what hair was there. I guess.
I guess so. Damn. Well, shout out to him. He'll never listen to this, but
I'll probably show him if I ever see him again. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Well, are the pickles made in house?
No. But like that's the big takeaway. Is no, they're not. But like also like, dude, like fucking tip 10%. Like eat my ass. Get it.
Well, shout out to the McDonald's that is sourcing you the quality bev.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Apparently.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
and even if it took me 10 minutes to get a thing, I'm not gonna leave a 1-star review on it because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because there are better things to do with
I always think that I'm like, yeah, I should do that, and I go, oh, you know what? And maybe I could just not do that. I don't know. I'm not sure if we can.
I think for our generation, it needs to be truly the most fucked up thing where it's like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If it was a point where some guy I got like wielded a concealed blade at me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely running that shit, like for sure. Like maybe I'll tell some sort of authority, but like I don't know.
It would be hilarious though if it was something that crazy, but you gave like 3 stars. You're like, I could do without the
Fucked up staff,
the
hated them,
death
they were
threat.
so rude to me, called me a slur. 5 stars. Burger was actually so dope.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
so good.
hilarious. Bev wise for me, drinking the best in the
Okay,
game.
I have had I'm triggered by like any canned water or like anything is a warped. Like we did like
Oh,
we did
okay.
2015 warped, and like it was such a weird thing to have like canned water. I mean, smart for branding, but it was just so many times I was drunk and I wanted to chug a water or pour water over my head, and it ended up being like a peach monster or something. So,
Well, yeah, I
yeah,
think like I think the lore behind Liquid Death is that the founder of the company was on Warped Tour and he just saw all the canned monsters everywhere and he's like, why are people just downing
monsters, yeah,
monsters
just
when they should be drinking water?
boiling hot, and they're like fucking thinks he's chugging like a green monster. Like that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, that
But
is
I mean,
wild.
I did pour a couple over my head by accident, like at post set, and that was brutal. So especially on Warped, like, no real shower or anything. So yeah, I mean, do you know Brad Zordrager?
Brad,
Like artist management. He was that guy, long hair, metal dude.
does he have a big beard?
Yeah, big beard, and he has that YouTube channel. I'm blanking on the YouTube channel right now, where
I
like a metal.
think, yeah, because I'm like, okay, the last name is fucking with me, but I've seen a Brad Z
Yeah,
on the
Brad
gram.
Z. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I know.
but
Does he Brand of Sacrifice
Brand of
is
yes,
okay,
yeah.
yes.
I'm trying to think of the
Shout out to
YouTube
Brad.
channel. I'm blanking on it right now with the fucking YouTube channels right now.
Mm.
But anyways, Brad, like Liquid Death is his shit, and like that's how I knew about it. Like I'd maybe seen like I feel like every touring band or like someone in music goes through like phases of like fucking beverages, especially like straight edge dudes. And
Mhm.
like honestly, before it was yerba mate or yerba mate or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, and then now it's fucking Liquid Death. And so like Brad was like the big one where he's like showing the can, like promoting on his YouTube and shit like that. And I was like, oh, what the fuck is Liquid Death? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, true. It's like a
Right.
can. So that's how I
Well,
found out.
I love Brad. I've never met him. If he's listening,
Sweet.
shout out to him. But I will die on the hill that I am the Canadian who rides for Liquid Death the most.
Okay.
And
I think he got a closet. I think he's got like a walk-in closet with skids, probably. I don't know. I'm lying,
dude, I have
but
probably
see,
3 dozens
I know,
behind
I
me
see.
and hundreds in the closet. So I'm not trying to like go to war with Brad over who's a harder Liquid Death simp, but I think I am. So
I mean, I see it in the background, so maybe that's a little more. I don't think I've ever seen his collection, so I think you win. I don't know. Yeah.
I think as far as ways I don't know. Now I'm just giving them free plugs. But
Yeah,
all in all, cheers to you, Jordan. Really excited to do this pod with you finally.
let's do the boom. There we go.
That was in sync, at least for me. I don't know about
I know it wasn't anything for me too. Like it didn't like lag or anything. So I think
okay. Yeah. So Jordan, you've checked out 1 or 2 of these episodes, so you kind of know the beginning stages of how I like to ease into the convo. Tell me about the first time that you were hearing DIY, alternative, punk, hardcore, any kind of like music that's connected to the worlds that I think we both occupy. So yeah, tell me your origin story when it comes to all this.
So I guess it would be like when I was I was born in 91. I'm 31. My brothers are 6 and 8 years older than me, and so and like I guess it's a part of the story I should say at the beginning too. My dad also worked as a consultant for Universal, and so like
Oh, okay.
just had like free CDs all the time. Like it just like my brothers are always getting free shit. So like I was fucking like 4 years old or like 3 years old, and like whatever Nirvana record or Foo Fighters record was coming out or whatever, my dad would get from my brother, and then that would just like trickle down to me because I was 4 or 5 and I really liked music, and so it was just like whatever. So I think the first time was maybe like my dad giving me like like No Doubt Tragic Kingdom was the first CD I ever got, or maybe the second. I don't really remember honestly.
Mhm.
I think the first time I ever experienced music on my own as like a whatever was I was like 10 years old and it had been out for a couple of years, but that movie Angus, which is like that coming of age movie, it's like this big kid in high school plays football. He's really good at football and fucking he's really smart, but like he's like kind of like a nerd and has like a nerd best friend. And just because he's a nerd, he's like roasted for. But all the music in it is like the fucking Muffs and like Weezer and like and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like dancehall crashers and shit like that. And so I'm like, that's where I first heard like music that wasn't popular on TV at all. It was like couldn't find any of their fucking information. You know what I mean? When I first got a computer. But that's probably it. It was probably like, yeah, like Weezer and shit like that. Honestly, if anything, like I mean, they were still a big, huge band, but like the Angus movie when it came out, like that was Weezer Pinkerton era. So they were big, but they weren't like, you know,
Mhm.
legacy yet, you know. But yeah, definitely then. And then I think in the sixth grade, I was really into Blink 182 and 741, like everyone else was. And I saw a girl and she's like a student teacher and she was wearing an AFI shirt. And then the next day she was wearing like a Sam Hain shirt. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Okay.
And so I looked it up and then I like found out what like who Danzig was and like the Misfits and like AFI.
Okay.
And so I probably that I was also like the Misfits and AFI in like grade 6 going into grade 7. And it's probably the first time I maybe really discovered music and was like, all right, I'm gonna like make this my personality now, you know? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah,
it's wild. Like, this is why I think there's such power in like the hardcore shirt. Whether you see that person down the street of like, oh, I could actually strike up a convo with that person at the very least because, there's some kind of connection off of that. But it's also like you're seeing a band on stage when you're in those early years and you're like, what the fuck is this crazy death metal kind of logo? And then you go down that rabbit hole as well. So I
of
don't
course,
know. It's
everyone goes down that like route
yeah.
where if you're younger too, and you're like, you see a band shirt that looks hard as fuck, and you're like, oh my god, that's a crazy looking shirt. I want that. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
then you go look up the band because the shirt was cool. Maybe you know what I mean. Then you can decide from there. And I feel like everyone does that, but I did that definitely from grade 6 to 9 for sure.
Right.
Like that teacher girl was wearing a fucking. It was like Sam Hain, or it was like it wasn't a Danzig shirt, but it was something, and I was like, okay, whatever. Looked
Mhm.
it up, wired it, like, fucking ruined my computer, but,
Yeah, but it is cool to hear how your dad was connected to the music industry. So like
yeah.
listening to stuff that was like popular, but it wasn't like
No, it was not it was, like, peak '90s, like, I mean, it was popular, like, grunge and shit like that, and it was on
sure.
TV and whatnot, but it was still, like it was still the alternative to the '90s of, like, Ace of Base and Fugees and Madonna and shit like that. It was still a little bit alternative even if it was popularized.
Hmm. So talk to me about like the start of like Pacific. Have you always been like I'm gonna sing in a band, or did that happen just through an accident
No,
to a degree?
very
I
active,
actually
yeah.
have in my notes here that I think started in the early days with like playing drums. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was fuck, it would've been, like, 2010. I was living in Pickering at the time. I was turning 19? Yeah. No, I would've been yeah, I was maybe turning 19, maybe it was 2009. Yeah, 2010. And, my friend Trevor I don't know if you know Trevor Wilkes at all. He was in Bleach Bath with me, and not that these are huge riveting bands, but, like,
Hmm.
he started Like Pacific because he fucking Facebook messaged me, and he was like, "Yo, you wanna be in a pop punk band? LOL." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll play drums, like, absolutely." And then, like, our friend Andrew Burnett, he used to be in that pop punk band from Ontario called In Lights back in the day,
Okay.
was like, "Oh, like, yeah, I'm gonna play guitar. I have an idea. Like, I wanna do, like, kinda power poppy shit." And I was like, I just wanna play drums. I don't give a fuck what it sounds like."
Mm.
So, we did that, and I think we recorded, like, maybe 1 or 2 demos of some songs, at, like, this, like, free recording studio, and it sucked ass. That was so fucking bad. And then uh, yeah, it was terrible, so we were like, "Whatever, fuck it," and then we just didn't really do much for a bit. We were, like, working on songs, but not doing anything, and we were like he was just so adamant about playing a show. But then one of our friends, Mikey, who was also in Lynn Lights, was like, "I'll play drums." And we needed to find a singer, and so we were like when I was playing drums, like, we were testing out people, and, like, it wasn't really working. And so I had yell sang on like friends like gang vocally stuff. Like in like
Sure.
my friend Calder used to like record all the Ontario bands back in the day, like With Blood and Shortline Hero and like I'm trying to think of other bands that are fucking like that, but he would do all that shit. And so I was always in the studio, and when I was younger, and we were just like fucking recording gang vocals or backup stuff all the time. And so I told them I could do that, and I was like, yeah, I could keep like in tune and pitch for sure. And they were like, cool, whatever. And then it just became a thing. And I think the first demo I heard it like 4 years ago, and it's so funny. I'm literally shouting like, like it's nuts, fucking nuts. I look crazy as hell, or I sound crazy as hell. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did that, and then I think they were just like, "Yeah, fuck it, like, we'll just, like, auto-tune it or something," and I was like, "Okay." And then we just, like, did the first EP, and then my voice hurt like fucking crazy, so I just, like, kinda learned how to sing after that a little bit, but
Sure.
yeah, it wasn't I was just the drummer at first, I was not no intention of doing vocals, like, I think I used to listen to a lot of bands when I was really young, like, maybe, like, oh, obviously, like, 10 fucking years old, and you pretend you're in the music video in your room, and you got headphones on, you're singing
Right.
along, like, it's a coming of age movie or some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like, yeah, for real, like I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to be the vocalist or the front man of a band, but I never thought it would come to fruition or be a thing. So
Mm.
that was fucking sick, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny 'cause, like, you're just a year older than I am, but it when I would watch, like, the Linkin Park videos, maybe it was the fact that they had 2 vocalists at the time, and they're just so in your face, you're like, "That's what I wanna
Oh,
do. I
and
wanna do
every
that."
video was like crazy like this. So it was like very aggressive and it was like, oh dude, yeah. Oh, Linkin Park was a great reference for that kind of shit. Cause I used to run around my fucking room when that came out and like screaming in the end. You know what I mean? Like so yeah, no,
Yeah.
that maybe that's where I got it from. Maybe it's from just like, yeah, singing songs when I was younger, but like I would have never have sang in a band if he didn't say like, just please try. I was like, okay, well, I was like,
Interesting.
we're in the studio. I guess I'll just do it.
And even just, like, the start, like, when the inquiry was like, "Do you wanna start a pop punk band, lol?" It sounded like you were just like, "I wanna just do whatever." So
Yeah, I
was
was like, I like pop punk. Like at that time, I really liked like that's when like I think maybe a couple months before, maybe 2 months before, Transit Keep This to Yourself came out,
mm,
and there was like Fireworks, the We Are Everywhere EP. I'm trying to think of other stuff like that. So like I liked some pop punk stuff. I remember hearing I heard the story so far late, but like another like a newer band, I guess. I heard that like late 2010, maybe when Under Soil and Dirt came out 2011. But like yeah, I still liked some of the newer pop punk stuff that was getting kind of popular, you know. But it wasn't like my genre of music that I listened to necessarily. Like, it was cool, but I never it wasn't like my personality or identity or anything like that. And then
yeah.
it became a thing where yeah, you're right. I was just like, fuck it, I'll play drums in anything. Who cares?
Mhm. Yeah, and I definitely had, like, a phase when I was first getting into a lot of, like, more DIY stuff where it was, like, A Day to Remember was, like, my all-time favorite band at the
Of
time,
course.
and, you know, it's funny, a friend of mine who's, like, you wouldn't expect A Day to Remember to still be one of his favorite bands, but he credits, like, listening to that band really taught him about, like, songwriting and just, like, how to craft, like, a good catchy song and put it together, and,
Those bands have it on the fucking nose for, like, pop writing sensibilities and shit like that, and that's why those bands are so big and they're great, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
right.
that's one.
Yeah, and it was a very similar thing for me, where it's like, in the very early stages, it was all the bands that I was trying to start by myself were all, like, overly heavy, like, August Burns Red copies, but, like,
Yeah.
diet on diet versions of, and then I got very similar to you, I got a DM from a DM, a Facebook message, you know, us showing our age by not
Yeah,
using
yeah.
that
Dude, a
term.
Facebook message, like, yeah, we're 30, so, like, Facebook
Yeah.
was so popular when we
I
were
got an
younger.
MSN, Messenger notification.
Somebody sent me a nudge and the dirt bike DP, like, fucking the rubber duck.
A nudge? Wow, I haven't heard about nudging in a long ass time. But
Actually,
yeah,
it's
it was like, "Hey, do you wanna play in this pop punk band?" And I was like, and I think that there were people in that band, at least for me, where they wanted to be full pop punk, and I was like, "Hey, let's throw in a little For Your Strong breakdown," or, like, stuff like that.
there's
So
always one of you fuckers in that fucking band. That was Andrew. He was like, "Dude, we gotta have a pop punk breakdown." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess, let's fucking go." At the time, I loved it, don't get me wrong, but I'm, like,
right.
thinking about it now, I'm like, "Why did we let him make any decisions?" No, it's
Yeah.
fine.
So, like, you guys start to do stuff, was like, was the mantra of the band, and I kind of said this, and I don't want to just like speak for you, but was there like a little bit of like, to me, it feels like, okay, we are self-aware in the sense that we are a pop punk band, and there's a lot of things, especially within our space, that are like, people roll their eyes or like, it's been
Yeah.
weird because there's been a like,
Dude,
there's
saying the word pop punk together makes people wanna fucking die, so, like,
sure. Everyone thinks about the Defend Pop Punk banner that's on
those
everyone's.
hoodies ruin my fucking Man of War, sick band, but fuck those hoodies, that ruin my career! No.
Yeah, it's almost. I would almost equate that to being like the Stick to Your Guns Move hoodie.
Oh, I had that, it was so sick. I had that, it was sick, it was so fucking sick. It was
Yeah,
2009, and I had it late. I definitely got it late, I should not have been
right.
wearing it.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. It's been a weird, at least in my, through my lens, if you want to say it that way. There was a big boom of pop punk, like like the fact that
2010
the fact
13.
that there could be a pop goes punk like series that just went and that like changed the game for so many bands because they covered some weird song.
And it just
Um,
get popularity from it, it's, like, nuts. And I'm like, "That's
yeah,
great," but it's
yeah.
like
And then I definitely saw like a bit of a dip, and it would almost feel weird to see pop punk bands on like my like an ad would pop up and like y'all look
mm,
like 35 plus and you're singing like songs that people wrote in a similar way when they were like 16 or 17. So
of
that
of
oh,
course. It's like do you know what that reminds me of? It's like, when you're saying the whole self-aware thing, it's like, yeah, like, I'm in a pop punk band, but I feel like I'm writing lyrics that are whatever, as opposed to the one guy who's, like, 34 years old, he's in a TikTok video, and he's like, "Did I just write the pop punk banger of the century?" And it's like, man, fucking some dumbass
follow for more.
yeah, and
Follow
he's
for
like,
more
"Follow"
pizza.
that's like yeah, "Follow for more pizza." It's like, fucking go to hell.
Right, right.
Oh, yeah.
But I think like the final thing of that, and I think I've seen this in the last couple of years. And again, this is a bit of a tangent, and we're gonna get back to you in a second. But
Yeah,
I'm seeing, when Like Pacific went on tour with Spaced, like seeing when Neck Deep would take out like Dare and like a couple other bands. The fact that I'm seeing a Neck Deep set on a Hate 56 video that's dropped a couple days ago, I'm like,
yeah, okay, so Ben posted some screenshot I think it was Ben from Neck Deep posted some screenshots, and I saw it, and I was like, "Whoa," like, "There's a Neck Deep Hey 5 6 video? That's fucking sick," but that's also, like, Sunny, like, I feel like I saw something a long time ago, him saying someone's like, "Fucking film this set," and he was like, "Unless I have a problem with the fucking band or whatever, like, personally, like, I'm gonna film every set at the show I'm at."
right. Oh,
And
totally.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's sick, like, that's sick, because you could be like, well, and not that he is, or I don't even know him, so I have no idea, I can't speak for him, but, like, certain people would go like, "Oh, fucking Neck Deep video on fucking Hate 5 6, like, what's the world coming to?" It's like, dude, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the exact same mantra that I take for Scoped. It's like if I'm filming a show, it's the show, not these two bands out of the five or
No,
whatever.
you're not. It's not. Yeah, it's fucking. You paid for the damn experience. You don't have to like the last band too. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. It's his
Yeah.
fucking job. He's great at it. But like, it's. I think it's sick and admirable that will just put anyone on there
Mhm.
that he likes, or is at the show and he's filming. I'm like, that's fucking
Right.
great. Because you could go see like Pacific with Spaced and film Space Set and be like, I'm not filming a pop punk band,
Yeah.
And that would just suck ass for me. I'd be
Right.
really.
Yeah. So I guess like this very long tangent of mine is like, where in when Like Pacific was starting, do you feel like it was right on time, maybe early or late to like maybe the boom phase of that, but like, obviously you guys have carried on and been able to do stuff well
Yeah,
past that. So I'm just kind of curious on where you think you sit.
we definitely started a little bit late when it comes to like being maybe a little more serious or like active as in like touring and shit like that. But
Sure.
like we signed up Pure Noise in 2014, like December, so 2015 necessarily, I guess. Um, and we had been playing shows and like doing little DIY tours around Ontario and whatnot for time at that point. And so when we did, yeah, like when we signed to Pure Noise, it was kind of like it just kind of fucking changed everything, and it was like whatever. Sorry, I just completely blanked. I was about to say something, I completely blanked on the fucking actual question.
Oh, I was asking where you fit on the timeline as far as like the boom
Gotcha. Yeah,
phase
yeah,
of it.
yeah. So I think we were kind of following the coattails of a lot of other bands, like when we got signed to Pure Noise, like the story so far was putting out amazing fucking they still are, but they're putting out amazing records and they were fucking selling like crazy. And I swear to God, I feel like we got picked up from Pure Noise because they could, because they were just like, yeah, like we're making so much money from fucking Story and state champs and shit. So I don't think we were behind or late or anything like that, but I definitely think that being from Canada has something to do with it.
Mm.
Being from Toronto, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a lot harder to tour the States, obviously, and then see like a fucking visa. In Canada, like what, you're gonna play like all of Ontario, Montreal, then what, you're gonna drive like fucking 24 hours to Winnipeg? Like, so I think that was the only maybe like little disadvantagey thing, but I think, yeah, like I think the timeline, it makes sense. We got signed in 2014, 15, and that was in the heat of like when Neck Deep was putting out like crazy records. I think the Story just put out their self-titled, stuff like that. So like it was like a great time again, because 2012 to 2015 was like Citizen Youth and like Balance and Composure, and it was a little more sad guy stuff, which
Yeah.
like we all loved, but we weren't that. So like it did feel out of place a little bit, you know what I mean? Because we weren't getting, you know what I mean? Like with like so many fucking other bands like that.
Hmm.
Uh, well, yeah, no, I think we were at the right time at the right place at the right time, especially with Pure Noise. But yeah, no, it's been fun and ever since, and I've never like it's definitely like taught me more things. Like I definitely want to work in music for the rest of my life. Who knows if I want to play live for the rest of my fucking life? Like, you know what I mean? But like that's definitely what long term being a band has taught me. So I'm like, that's kind of fucking cool. You know?
Right.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
have been anything without Pure Noise and like fucking, you know, listening to these fucking bands and getting into it. I guess, you know what? I guess I wouldn't be in a pop punk band unless I listened to all these bands in 2010, because I would have
Mm.
just kept listening to fucking, I don't know, See You Next Tuesday or whatever I liked back then. I don't know what I
Sure.
liked, you know?
Yeah, and I guess like yeah, that's a great point to bring it up. Is like obviously like I grew up in Winnipeg, live in Calgary now, so it's like Western Canada has always kind of been the way that I've looked at it. And sometimes
Yeah.
I like kind of be like, oh, like if you live in Toronto, you have it so easy as far as being in a band, but there's still the obvious hurdles of like still need to get a visa for US touring, still need to do these kind of things. And it's still a weird thing that certain labels or certain people that want to work with you, it's like as soon as it's like not the US flag attached to your band and it's like a Canadian, it's like, "Oh, but it's like the music is just as good,
It's
if
like a
not
blessing
better."
it's like
But
a blessing and a curse. Like, Canadian content is crazy. Like, if you can start, like, a fucking Canadian band and tour Canada relentlessly, you're laughing and making money, but, like, you might not be well known anywhere else. But if you break out in the States, which we got really lucky to do, you know, then you're laughing as well because you have a bigger fan base that for more potential in the future. But,
right.
like, oh, I forgot you lived in Calgary. It's funny. I have so many homies that live in Calgary that like now are just in Vancouver because they skate and they're like, I'm not staying in Calgary. It's too fucking cold. I'm gonna go skate in Vancouver. I'm gonna sublet like a terrible apartment for 3 months. And I see it on their Instagram, like, you look like you live in squalor.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people leave here to escape the cold, but for me, it's like, if anything, I escaped more consistent cold. Because at least here you get things like Chinook, so it will just like kind of like melt the snow randomly in the middle of the
Yeah,
winter
yeah.
time. But
I'm okay with consistent weather. Like, we fucking live in Canada. We grew up here. Like, you kind of like, I don't know, every year I was like, oh, we're gonna snow. It's like, bro, you are from Ajax. Like, I know you know what snow is, and fucking you're 30, like, shut up. But
right,
I do mean, like, the consistency of weather makes total sense. Like, now you're living in one spot. Like, Winnipeg is, like, fucked because I swear to God, like, it could be March, it could be -35, and then, like,
right.
literally and in May, it could be -10, for, like, or, like, -2 and snowing for the first week, you know? And it's, like, in Toronto, it's 10 degrees, and I'm, like, laughing, you know? So
Yeah, yeah. So, maybe talking about more current things as far as current, even though this record, I guess, is like on paper, it's 2 years old as far as the year of when we're recording this. But talk to me about like that last record because again, it's coming out in a time that's a little strange. You don't know if you can start touring, but like now that that's a little bit more attainable, how have the shows and the response been since putting that out? Because it's always
so
like, you're only looking at it from a few months, but now it's like you almost have to extend that review time because of, pandemic things.
yeah,
But
everything has been delayed, you know what I mean? Like,
uh,
even people's thought process is delayed because they're just, like, not they're just dealing with everything else that's going on in the world. When we oh, fuck, where do I start with this one? Holy shit, it was a fucking process. Oh my god, dude. Okay, so it was like 2019 December, maybe 2020 January, February ish, like in that timeline. We were like, well, we're doing another record with Pure Noise. You know, we got a couple tracks. Let's record them. So we went to Sam Guyana's studio. It's like Room 21 Sound. It's actually like directly down the street from me, which is nice. So it was super easy to walk to every fucking day to the record. But we did that, and then we did a couple songs, and we were writing stuff, and everyone was kind of slacking a little bit because we were like, fucking, like, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to do? And then the fucking pandemic happened a month later, and we were like, okay. And then we couldn't be in the
What
studio.
are we going to do? Not what. What do we want to do?
We were in the middle of doing a record. Like, obviously, Sam's getting paid for it. The money's been dished out. We got to fucking do it. There's a timeline ish, you know, like Pure Noise like perfectly put it out at the time that they should have put it out, which is amazing. So it's like, you know, whatever, and it made sense for us. But we were like, couldn't even be in the studio for like 3 months at one point. Like Sam's like, I can't have anyone in here. Obviously, everyone's terrified and shit like that. Or just like, I'm not dealing with that. And so, fuck, doing the record was nuts. I had to go in like maybe like every other day on my own, or like every day on my own, or maybe with one other person. Half the time we were masked, opposite sides of the studio, like writing and shit. It just fucking sucked. Lots of Zoom writing, and like our bass player Brad, I would like FaceTime him and he would like send me a riff, or he'd send me shit and we'd elaborate on it. And he would stay at my house for a week, and we'd quarantine together for a week and then go back into the studio for it was fucking nuts, man. It sucked. It was the most grueling record experience ever too, because like, you know, we're a smaller band doing a fucking record and the pandemic's happening. And we're like, well, we had to put it out at the right time, because if we don't, we might get swept under the rug, you know? And so it kind of came in a perfect time, because like the world was kind of opening up again, and we had only one more lockdown after the record came out in January in Ontario. And then it opened up. We played a couple shows here and there. Then we did the summer tour with Spaced, and it was good. It was a lot of fun. I had a fucking blast. But I definitely say that like this year was so oversaturated with shows because everyone wants to get back out there. So I think people pick and choose. Like, we played a lot of shows on the same nights as some fucking our friends, or like big acts that are in the same world. Oh, lots. And it wasn't even like a booking agent thing, or like, because I love our booking agents. Brad Wiseman's fucking sick as name drop. It wasn't that. It was just like fucking. You could be playing one night and down the street, St. Tams is playing, and it's like, you know what I mean? Or I could be playing.
We should be playing the same show together.
Yeah, or you could be playing. I could be playing on a Thursday night, and then the next night, Knuckle Puck's in town with like One Step Closer or something. And I'm like, okay. Of course that show. You know what I mean? Like, of course they're not going to pay $20 for our show. They're going to go pay $20 for that fucking show. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it totally. It just, that was the hardest part about the record was, I mean, the recording was pretty tough, but was just like the waiting game of how like things were going to pan out, and then seeing it pan out, and it was great and fun. But it was like, fuck, like, there's so much going on. Like, people are overwhelmed with shows for sure. And then they like, I don't know. I get it. I totally fucking get it. If your fucking favorite band is playing the night at another band, it's been 2.5 years. Of course, you're going to go see your favorite band. Right. I totally.
But it's also like, you know, you're adding 2 years on everyone's age. So like, if you're a newbie and you're like 18, 19, fresh out of high school because you had to graduate over Zoom or whatever, you could go to like a show every weekend. I'm sure there's plenty of people like listening to this podcast or watching it who are like, yeah, that's me. But then there's people like you or I where we're like, okay, like, you know, normal life is kind of resuming, and like I probably maybe shouldn't go to every single show, because either it's like, you know, a cost thing or just like a time management with the other shit that you have going on.
Yeah. Also, like I know this is weird, but like a lot of people have the laziness factor too, where like it's the weighing scale of, is it worth is it gonna be fun? Is it worth it? Yeah. Because everyone sat inside and did nothing for so fucking long. Like I go to shows still, to my friends' shows and whatnot, and I'll try to go to as many shows as I can that I want to, but I live in the east end of Toronto. I fucking don't go past Broadview ever. And like, that's nothing. Like, downtown doesn't even start yet. So it's like, you know, it doesn't even start yet there, but I don't know. Like, I get it. It's just, there's a whole list of things of people why whatever wouldn't go to certain shows or whatever. But it's like, that was my only complaint, was just like the oversaturation of music, which is amazing. And I'm so happy that it's back. But it was like, it was a little weird for us, you know, we're smaller.
Yeah.
But hopefully this year we get a bigger tour and, you know, put it on the universe that someone just takes us out and become billionaires and
Fuck being millionaires. We going straight to a Billy.
Millionaire, I'm gonna go on stage and say the bad word again.
You're like, clearly this is working. Maybe I just need to double down.
Lots of views on that video. Maybe I can monetize it. No,
Right.
monetize.
Because you brought it up, and I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I knew it was coming to this. Of course.
I just sometimes it's like spur of the moment. Sometimes it's like no, like I asked them just before we started playing or whatever. So anything that you want to pull the curtain back about that specifically.
I don't care. We good. Like, it's fucking funny. Like,
which dude, is like, I think it's double funny too because I've had Jordan from Momentum on this podcast before, and it was not right after their album came out, but it was like kind of when a lot of that stuff was happening.
And that single, like, that single dropped before too, so it's like, yes, it was
exactly.
People had time to marry.
So to me, as a curator and host of this show, it's like I believe in the marketplace of ideas, where it's like I can have someone on where I don't have to necessarily 1,000% like, yeah, put this on my tombstone. I totally agree with you, but I'm allowed like there are certain things that are like they would just never see the light of day if it was so out of pocket for someone to say that, But that was enough for me to be like, I know, like I know Jordan likes to, stir the pot. He likes to get into the weeds about some of that, but I was also trying to be like, were you like, was this like a statement, kind of thing? And we kind of got into that, but.
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, sorry to keep cutting you off.
No, keep going, please.
But there's naturally there was people within my circle who were like, "Oh, Spencer had Jordan on. Oh, I'm curious on what's gonna happen." And I didn't get lots, but I got one DM from person that was upset about it. But I was like, "Are you upset that I had him on, or that he did the thing that you're upset about?" And then he started to like backtrack and all this stuff. So. I think this thing specifically, if you're gonna silo it, is hilarious, and the fact that you doing your thing and then just the other iterations of it is funny. But again, tell me about Hold Your Ground during the Momentum set. And
all right, I'll start
doing
with
your own Jordan spin.
So I mean, I've known Jordan for a time. There used to be a pop punk band called Seasons Change from California, and he was like their best friend, and like he was like do merch for them and whatnot. Like, I don't even think he did merch. He was just always around. Like they were like his homies. And Josh, the drummer of Momentum, was also in that band.
Yes.
And so we're just friends. We like our first West Coast tour ever was a Forever Came Calling and Seasons Change, and we just became really close friends with them. And then they started Momentum maybe a year or two after, like 2016, 2017, maybe something like that, from what I remember. And they played a bunch of shows and shit like that. And then they put out this new fucking record. And like, I mean, they were playing shows before, don't get me wrong, but I listened to all their shit and I was friends with them. But you know what I mean? You kind of put off when your friend puts a record out. You're like, it's either like you hop right on it, or you've like heard all the singles early because they sent them to you or whatever, showed you the dance.
Right.
Just wait on whatever. But they put the new record out, and I was like, oh, this is fucking hard. And the artwork is like a fucking. It looks like Master Killer, but it also is like, I don't know. It was just sick. I was like, this is wild. And then I heard the song and I was like, oh my God. And I immediately went to the comments. I was like, okay, because like, he's black, but everyone's like, oh fuck, he's white. And I'm like, he's not like fully fucking white. Like, and the comments are just like, fuck this band and all this stuff. Yeah. And then he would just comment being like, you're a bitch. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, this is insane, but it was sick. I was like, this is fucking insane. Right. Whatever. They announced Hold Your Ground. I was like, fuck, you guys are finally playing Toronto. I don't remember if it was me. I'm going to say it was me, but it was like, yo, what if I went up and said fag instead of the slur? And he was like, LOL, what if you said like the slur? I was like a joke. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, like that'd be really funny. I was like, I'll do it at Hold Your Ground 100%. And we like laughed about it. And that was like probably in the summer, right? So like, months before Hold Your Ground. And then Spaced, when we did the tour, they're like, we're playing Hold Your Ground. We were getting announced, whatever. We got announced. I was like, oh, sick. Cool. I'll definitely go. It looks like a big lineup. Since you guys are there, I mean, I would have gone anyways, I think. But like, I was like, now there's friends on it too. Like, of course I'm going to come see you.
Of course. Yeah.
And so it was Friday, and Moment was playing, and like all the dudes in Friction fucking FaceTiming me and calling me like nonstop, like Noah's fucking calling me and he's like, bro, where the fuck are you? And I'm like, why are you guys so pressed? Like, bro, I'm like, we heard you're gonna say something bad on stage. Where the fuck are you? So it was like kind of planned because like I guess like work. Maybe Jordan told someone or one of our friends, or
Sure.
maybe I told them. I don't know. Maybe I told them. I don't really remember. I'm sure I told like Matt Tomasi or something. And they're like, bro, get the fuck here. We only came here to fucking have a good time, and you're gonna make it in a bad time, like all this dumb shit.
Friction only going to Holy Ground to see you say the episode.
No. They were
I'm just
stoked.
kidding.
Like,
I love Friction. Love those dudes.
every fucking band. Like, but they were just telling me like, dude, get here now. Get here now. And fuck you, fine. So I took the subway from the East End all the way to the fucking West End, and then hopped in a fucking Uber up there. It was fucking far as hell, but whatever, from Toronto. But got there, whatever. Haven't seen people in a while. Seeing a lot of new faces, seeing a lot of old faces, people I don't really fuck with anymore. People like do fuck with. Like, there's a lot of people. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then we're just chilling, and Momentum's about to go on, and I'm like, fuck, when is the song? I go up to Jordan, I'm talking to Jordan and Josh and them, and I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, fuck, am I gonna do it? And he's like, yeah, you gotta do it, man, you gotta do it. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, am I gonna get roasted in trouble? He's like, Jordan's like, who fucking cares? And I was like, knowing Jordan how he is, I was like, okay, you're right. It's like, you're right, who fucking cares? Why am I nervous about this? It doesn't matter. And I'm like standing on the side of the fucking stage, and like they play whatever, they're playing all the hits, and then obviously get to fucking, is it Relapse? That's the song, right?
Yes.
I always forget the name of it because of like it's the first word, but I always like whatever. But so they get to that song, and I'm on the side of the stage, and it's like me standing here, and like that dude like straight across from me, like eye level, is like that lumpy dude who fills guitar for every fucking band
Oh
ever.
yeah. He we actually did a podcast with him, his third one on the show, just a couple days ago. So
no way, dude, he's nuts. Like, guy's an amazing guitar player, and he's in every fucking band, so he must be sick. But anyways, guy's like in my direct vision. A guy, like homie from Tsunamis, beside me, and like I don't know any of these people, obviously, right? So it's like there's like these are like newer bands I just got into, so I'm like, or whatever. It's like him. It's like a guy from Division of Mind. And like just a bunch of other people, like just like homies watching their friends fucking band, like a bunch of FSU dudes and shit, like fucking sitting on the side of this. And I'm like, all right. And I go up and like I'm on the side of the stage, and it's like goes to that 2-step part where it's like dun, 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 and I'm like waiting, and I'm like, okay, fuck, I don't want to go up too early. I don't know what my time is. And he's looking at me like he's like kind of like this, and he's like, come on, like he's singing, but he's like, come on, one more fucking turn. I'm like, all right. Let's just go. And I run up, and I'm like, okay, it'd be so funny if I power stanced or whipped. Like if I whipped, like the original thing was to be like, I was gonna be like, third string is calling your name, and then be like, into that.
Into the breakdown?
Like a like that. I was like so embarrassed, like so corny and embarrassing.
Right.
Then I just did I went, and then I stuck my neck out and did like the, and every man said that with his whole fucking body. And I was like, yeah, like it was whatever. And I look at it, and I look at the video, and everyone on the side of the stage in the background was kind of like, or like,
oh yeah.
Most people were like,
I'm behind the camera, and I'm sure Jordan, who was also there, like Jordan is almost immune to some things, but I was like, oh shit. And there was other people as well who were like, that's so sick.
Dude, and then I went off the side of the fucking stage, and every person in the band was looking at me confused. There was no like, yo, that was sick, or that was funny. It was mostly like, did he say the N-word? I was like, no, I'm fucking kidding it, bro. And then there was this dude, he walked up to Jordan and said, you're just gonna let your guy say that? And he was like, yeah, he's gay, he can say that. And he's like, he's gay, he can say the N-word? And he's like, he didn't say the N-word. And I was like, holy fuck, man. That was giving me like nuts anxiety, or I was like, fuck, why the fuck? And then the video came out, and it squashed the beef, and it was like praised for like 2 days, and I was like, I didn't care anymore.
That's so funny that this happens all the time, where it's like some vocalist is standing on stage and they're like giving this heartfelt speech, and some guitar player is just ringing out, and you can't really hear what's happening, and some people are clapping and you're clapping, and you're like not 100% sure what's actually being said.
What just happened? Yeah, you're like,
yes.
That was that.
Yeah, but it was like the worst version where people thought he was saying the N-word versus the F slur.
F word, yeah, the F word, yeah. No, it was nuts, because like even if you watch the video, no one bats an eye during that one part. And once they're done dancing, they're like, "Wait."
Yeah. It's like the fucking equations start piling up and like, wait a minute. But yeah, it's funny because I knew that like putting the video out was gonna have that. And there was a part of me that was like, should I use the part in the song where that happens? But it was so far after and like, all the hits already kind of came up on like the cell phone video. So I was like, this is fine. People watching it will like they'll timestamp it in
And now,
comments.
now that momentum set's on YouTube, right? Like, and I've watched it, and like the comments are like normal ish, but like the fucking Twitter clip was, I got so many followers like that day was gnarly, so many, and then I got so many followers of people that I've seen from shows that like I've never talked to, but I know we like the exact same music or have the same friends, but we've never talked. And they just follow me, and I'll get like a DM being like, "Yo, respect, LOL, that was funny." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Thanks, man, that I've like never talked to you, but like I should, I guess, know." I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just like that, but it was just like
Right.
it was wild. It was like and I also like had just gotten like a blue check mark
You're like,
on
is
it.
this gonna get revoked now?
Dude, I was like, I don't fucking care, but like I was like, if I'm gonna lose the blue check mark over that, that is funny. Like,
Right.
not that was really a thought,
You're
but I
like,
mean,
is Elon gonna see this and remove me off of Twitter?
yeah, maybe I don't know. I think people will say way worse things. I'm okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not worried. But the goof is funny.
Oh, dude,
But I
yeah,
think, just correct me if I'm wrong, and Jordan, if you're listening, you can correct the record too. Has there been any other versions of that aside from your spin on it?
I don't know. I would love to know. I don't think I've ever heard that. Like, I think when I said it, he just was like, "Whoa, that's funny!" Like, "Holy fuck, yeah, you should
Right.
do that. That's funny." I don't, and I think after that, I don't think I ever like whatever. But all the tweets were like of like gay people being like, "I'm fucking doing this next time on my own." With my
To me, saying gay people what's up is almost just as it's a perfect layup to the slam dunk.
well, I was thinking like, "What the fuck is up, Denny's?" Like, but like thinking like I was gonna say something like "Hold your gay" or something. I don't know.
Hold your ga-
And I thought like, "Oh, maybe hold your ground." Like I'm roasting him, and I'm not. So I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, let's say that." You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
So, I don't know. I was thinking there were so many things going through my head, like, "What the fuck am I gonna say?" And because it was that, I think it was so simple and plain that it was funny because people were
It
like,
was
"What?"
effective. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone was like, "What?" Like, yeah,
I don't know what's up.
yeah, like,
Um,
I don't.
yeah. So I guess like again, trying to tie these worlds together, like we were talking a little bit earlier, like Neck Deep going on tour with Dare, and then like you guys going out with Spaced. I remember when I think it was Donnie, because I've had Lexi and Donnie on the show, but I think it was
Yep.
Donnie who said that tour was not like they had a blast, but I think it was just like I don't know if it's more strange for pop punk bands to play to hardcore kids or for hardcore bands to play to pop punk kids.
I think it's hardcore bands that play to pop punk kids. I
Mm,
think so. Because besides maybe, like, the bullshit people like, "I fucking hate pop punk," there's some guy who, like, maybe only listens to, like, Set It Off by Madball because he thinks he's a fucking individual.
sure.
Um, that kind of person is gonna be whatever, but, like, I felt a little bit bad having them on the tour for the sense of, like, it was a bunch of pop and pop punk bands, and then, like, they're the heavy band opening. The cool thing is, like, everyone loved Lexi, and they all hung out at Merch Adder and chilled, and, like, I swear they're having a good time, so, like, I hope they were having a good time, you know? But
Mm,
I definitely felt bad a little bit considering, like, opening first and being, like, the mixed bill band, you
mm,
know?
right.
But, like, fuck, honestly, it was so nice, like, a breath of fresh air to have, like, friends you like on a show or a tour and
Totally.
stuff like that, or, like, or music you really, really like and stuff like that, and so, I mean, I hope it was great for them because I loved it, so,
Yeah. I just think that maybe we're getting into an era now where it's like if you look at a band like No Pressure, like I would love to have Parker on the show to talk about his perspective on this, but like to me, it's like No Pressure is a hardcore band, but they have like the pop punk pass because of like all those things, you know?
Yeah, like, No Pressure to me is, like, Saves the Day, Can't Slow Down, polished, but, like, in a
Sure.
great way, like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's, like, polished. It's got, like, a lot of Lifetime vibes, sounds like Blink-182 a lot too, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, but
Mm,
it's a hardcore band to me. It's like how people would call H2O a hardcore band or
right.
something, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't. I want to shout out H2O. I fucking hate that band. Sorry.
um,
Toby Moore's gonna kick my fucking ass now. I'm dead.
I'm honestly on the fence. I don't listen to them. I have his phone number through another career venture.
Yeah.
I've always been on the fence about asking him to come on the podcast because I know like there would be numbers for someone like him, and he's got ties and connections. But I'm like, I think this would be not a good move to have him on.
I think it'd be a terrible move. Isn't he like a cop lover or some shit?
Yeah, that's the main reason. But it's like
I'm good. Like I'm good with that. Like you don't need a goofy adult on your show. I'm sorry.
I don't need a goofy adult. That's right. That's the proper way.
Yeah, I'm gonna get so much hate for this one. I don't care. Like,
right.
Go ahead.
But yeah, like this is not a shit on H2O section of the podcast, but I thought it was very.
I'm wondering, are we keeping this in the podcast? Maybe we shouldn't.
Dude. If you want to cut it, I will. But I'm also like,
I don't care.
I'm fine. I don't care either. I think going back to what I was trying to say before H2O came up, but I think. These worlds kind of like slamming them together, there is crossover that's starting to happen now where you're seeing more of these shows. You're seeing the neck deep on Hate5six. So
to me, used to be this back in the day. You'd go see fireworks play with fucking rhinoceros or something. You know what I mean? But sure. and then that would never happen again for years. And now it's happening again. Like, I mean, the last thing I remember that was being a fucking crazy thing was that. Do you remember that weekend thing back in the day? Like, it was like Heartfest weekend, and it was. Leading up to it, it was like Freedom, Homewrecker, and Citizen.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
Couple nights in a row into Heartfest. You know what I mean? Like a couple days on Ontario.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, that was the last time I saw something so crazy mixed. But you had like the heavy, like punks, like I don't know, what would you call Homewrecker? Like a slam?
I would call them HM2 metallic hardcore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like that, and then obviously you got Freedom, which is like. So close to Oi almost, you know what I mean? Like at that point of their musical career or whatever it was that. And then Citizen, you know what I mean? Who at that point had put out Youth, and I think they were riding off of Youth still.
Yeah.
Like it was nuts. That was crazy fun.
Yeah.
But like now I see it happening more, especially, and that's why I also wanted to hop on and get like Space, because I'm like, fuck, well, these bands are bringing up bands that they think are cool. I want to do that too. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. It's like the only differences is like I think the biggest crossover as far as like crowd participation for those styles of music is stage dives. You see plenty of stage dives at pop punk shows. You see plenty of that at a hardcore show.
I wish Led Zeppelin was more of a stage dive band. We're not anymore. We were like until maybe like 2016 or 17, and it just like the vibe changed. I don't know what, but.
But you're not discouraging any stage dive.
Not at all. That's like a part of the fucking show. Like,
if you're going to like Pacific Show in 2023, tweet at me and Jordan saying I stage dived in 2023 to like Pacific.
I crowd killed to a pub.
I crowd killed. Yeah, let's skip over stage diving. Just go for the gnarliest shit.
If someone were to crowd kill to a pub. Like, no, I'm actually good. No, I don't want to see that. That's embarrassing. I don't want to see that.
I was like, is there any bands within pop punk that warrant a crowd kill?
No, but like when I was talking about like Man Overboard and Transit and all that shit like that, I don't know what band it was. Maybe that band Maker back in the day, but they had like a two-steppy part. And I saw them at Sneaky D's, and I swear to God, the lead up to the two-steppy part, everyone demolished the shit out of each other, and the two steps were harsh. Like people were like, it was like full fist like shit, and I was like, this is nuts. Like. This band, he's singing his heart out right now.
Right.
Beating each other up, but yeah, I don't know.
When
it was cool. We only had some kids mosh to like Space and stuff like that had only liked us. I go, oh, that was really cool. I'm like, yeah, great.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just those little experiences of like, you know, don't like just dump them straight into an incendiary pit or something like that. Like you need kind of like building blocks to be able to build up to that.
Dude, we just did that show, we postponed like whatever makeup show in January, like a week ago or whatever, or 2 weeks ago. And it was us, Wildside, Friction, Blissfields, and Summer Heights. Summer Heights is Adam from Rarity's sister's band, and they're fucking great. And they're like a pop punk band, kind of emo-y pop punk. Then you got Blissfields, which is like grunge My Bloody Valentine. you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And then you got Friction,
Speaks
and
for
you got
itself.
Wild Side, which is just, like, crazy fun, like, Iron Boots dance music, like, you know? And then you got us.
Sure.
That's completely different I mean, Friction and Wild Side for sure very close together, same crowd of, fan base and shit like that, but very mixed bill, like, Summer Heights, very young band, Blissfield's been in a million, like, cool bands, but also doing what they wanna do now, and it sounds great. You got Friction, a newer band that are doing so many cool, amazing things in Toronto and Canada, really. And then, like, yeah, Wildside is like a fucking amazing Triple B band that we're all friends with, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, that was so sick. I was like, this feels like that made me feel good about shows again. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, I get to handpick the bands I want to do and everyone had a good time. And I genuinely watched every band and liked it.
Hmm.
Like, that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to jump back to the Like Pacific discography because you guys have put out a few records. There's a couple songs that have popped, some that have not. So I always like to ask this question and get different perspectives of different people within the bands. From your from your view, what is the most overrated Like Pacific song, and what is the most underrated one?
Overrated is Distant, maybe.
Okay.
I think it's overrated because it's just like a very pop song. It's very catchy and hooky, but I don't know. Maybe okay. It's not over. I think it's overrated. It's not really. I feel like general consensus overrated. I'm still gonna pick Distant. Actually, fuck it. I'm still gonna pick Distant. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then underrated.
Mhm. Underrated is like, I wish this shit popped so we could play it more.
Mhm. I wish Worthless Case went. It used to go really hard and people went nuts, but it was like I wish that went. People went nuts for that. I think it's super underrated. And I
Oh, you
definitely
feel
think
like it was hype and
it
then it's
was,
kind
it
of
was,
dipped?
and then it just yeah, I think when we put out more music and other things, it kind of just
Sure.
fell in the back of it, but maybe that, but I guess, like, the last, Time Won't Heal, it's, like, the last song on the new record, and it was, like I was, like, trying to like, during the pandemic, obviously, everyone had, like, a personality crisis and, like, all this shit, but I was revisiting bands I used to love and bands, like, just new stuff I've never given a chance because I was like, I would never listen to that kind of music or something,
Hmm.
and so you know, it was like a fucking I had this whole thing where the entire pandemic, like, for, like, 3 months, I was like, "The only bands I'm listening to are the first Drop Dead Gorgeous records and Heavy, Heavy, Low, Low." And then, like, maybe 3 months later, I was like, "I'm only listening to Bon Iver." And then it was, like, maybe a fucking year later, it was, like, whatever. But, I don't know, I think Time Won't Heal, I was listening to a lot of, like, Bring Me the Horizon, like, I don't even, like, necessarily I mean, dude, the first Bring Me the Horizon record, I think it's, like, Count Your Blessings or no, This What the Edge of Your Seat Was Made For, whatever it's called, is
Okay.
fuck
Yeah, yeah.
sick. But I haven't listened to it since it came out when I was, like, 16, 15, 16 years old. But I listened to all the new stuff, and it's so crazy production value, and I watched it at, like, Wembley, and I watched a thing on YouTube, and I was like, "This is the craziest, coolest thing I've ever seen."
Mm.
And so when I wrote Time Won't Heal, I wanted to write a song that was kind of big, triumphant, that it would almost sounded stadium-y, even though we're
Okay.
not that kind of band at all,
Right.
and we never will be, but I was like, "That'd be cool to have a big, triumphant sounding song." So I think that's the most underrated one, for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, that's interesting that you wrote a song based off of like a
So
setting.
yeah, I was watching their Wembley thing and it looked nuts and it was very big sounding and I was like, "Fuck," like, I like that. I mean, it's very stadium rock sounding, but I was like,
Sure.
Why is this appealing to me right now? I don't know, but I really like it," you know?
Right. No, that's very cool. Yeah, it would be a dream to have one of those dudes on the podcast. It will happen one day. I'm confident.
You
We'll
know that
work up to the Ollie side
having,
to
like
it.
if you know that having one of those dudes like Matt or like Ollie from fucking Bring Me the Horizon on the show, you would get some deep cuts, some crazy UK hardcore bands and stuff like
Oh,
that.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, which I think is so cool because 'cause they're a couple years older than us, probably like 5 years older than us maximum.
Mhm,
And they were in that time in the UK in, like, 2006 when deathcore was popping off and, like, hardcore bands that were there too, right?
right.
So
Yeah, maybe one day. Cut to me in 5 years interviewing Ollie. I want to jump back. Early in the episode, we were talking about like you started playing drums, and then it was like I guess I'll sing. Did you play drums in another band in the midst of all the stuff with like Pacific, or did you not have the time or even desire to do that?
I practiced a few times with a band I will not name,
Okay.
uh, at the time. I don't think I can really name them, but I practiced for a little bit, but it wasn't really working out anyways because I wasn't straight edge. So and they didn't want me to
Okay.
be. So I'll put it that way.
Sure.
And I think my commitment was with like Pacific because it was like I had just started vocals, and I was like, well, whatever. I played drums for a couple things here and there, but it was always like one-off shows or like whatever. I think I played a Safe to Say set at Sneaky D's. Uh,
Okay.
at last minute, like we don't have our drummer tonight, so I learned like 5 songs and fucking did it. So like stuff like that, little things, but
Mm,
nothing really at that moment. It was just like Pacific because I was like 19, so like obviously focused on like partying and going out and doing whatever, and then being in a fucking band. You know what I mean?
right.
So it was whatever. But yeah, no, I didn't do too much. I don't really think I picked up drums or got back into playing drums. I mean, like and things until a couple years later when I had more when we got signed and everything like that, and I was like realizing that like, oh, people make this their life, like where they can be a touring band, but they also do other music ventures. And I was like, oh, I could do that too. So
Mm,
then a couple years later, fast forward, Raise and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
right.
that was a thing. But yeah, no, I wasn't really doing too much back then. Like it was like I was just kind of focused on that. I was playing in some metalcore bands with my friends and shit. We never really did anything besides play like your high school fucking carnival or like, you play a pay to
High
play.
school carnival.
Yeah, dude, we had a not my high school carnival, it was like our other there's like a school in Pickering called Dumbarton, and, like, they're like the art school, like, I went to Pine Ridge, which was, like, the athletic school, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
I would
So you didn't
that.
have an elephant at your at your carnival or anything like that.
No, 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 but their carnival had, like, fucking jumping castles and cotton candy and shit, and then, like, a bunch of metalcore bands. It made no sense.
What the fuck?
I know, I know, I
That's
know.
crazy.
I'll have to find the video, I'll show you the video, it is, like, filmed on, like, a Sony Ericsson or some shit, it's, like, the grainiest photo I've ever seen, and I fuck up the drums so bad, like, as in, like, it goes from, like, so fast, and it's like, I can tell I'm watching the video, and, like, I'm like, "Dude, this is, like, nuts." Like, I'm so glad this is at a fucking carnival.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked with that
No,
one
that's
there.
fine. You brought up the band that I wanted to ask about, Rays, because it seemed like like Pacific is for sure like the full time thing. It's the one you're giving your most amount of time and attention to, and rightly so because you guys are on a big label and all that. But like I saw that Rays played with Ceremony at a skate park, so it's like even
Yeah,
though it's like like a less less stakes, whatever. You're still playing with like dope bands. So like, do you want to talk about that show specifically?
yeah, like, okay, so funny enough, like, I don't think you see that poster back there. I think that was the first Ray show or second Ray show.
Okay.
It's it's Wildside, Milspec, Ikulu, and Rays
Yeah.
was the first show.
Still very dope show. Very dope lineup.
Second show we played was Candy, Ikulu, us, and someone else. I know, it was fucked. It was Best Wishes, which is, like, Cody, the bass player of Milspec's, like, side project. I don't think they played a show since. It was, like,
Oh,
2019. Yeah,
okay.
but it's very Cro-Mags. You get
Sure.
with the name. So yeah, we got lucky with the first 2 shows ever. Like, this is fucking nuts. Okay, cool. But, like, that's how hardcore is. It's like there's no real hierarchy. Everyone's, like, really close friends. You can be in the smallest band on the bill and be best friends with, like, the headliner. I don't know.
Sure.
So yeah, like, that ceremony show was nuts because Ray's put out a demo in 2019, and then the pandemic happened, and we played maybe 2 shows in that time during the whole pandemic, but we didn't put any new material or anything like that. But I have the entire Ray's demo, like, done on my computer. I wrote the whole thing and then just sent it to the guys, and I was like, "We'll change up." Like, obviously, I don't play guitar as well as those do, so I was like, "We'll have to change up some things, but, like, here's the demos," and everyone was fucking stoked, and I was like, "Cool." So whatever, I sent them that, and then I think that kinda put it in the universe because hadn't played a show in a bit, and then, like, Greg from like, Not Dead Yet was asked to play with Ceremony, and I was like, "Holy fuck, Raze?" Like, Raze hasn't played a show since, like, the Friction thing last year, like, I thought they were gonna ask, like, Friction or Real World or any of these bands that are doing a lot more things,
Sure.
but I guess, like, we're, like, on the punk side of HC more than we are on the metallic side as those other bands are, so, I don't know, I'm grateful we got fucking asked. Uh, I did the worst thing ever, I think, in my life. I asked the drummer of Spy, who was also the drummer of Ceremony, if I could borrow his kit because, like, the house kit fucking sucked ass. And he actually was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, I didn't expect that either." They're the coolest people ever, and they
Mm,
were so sweet.
I didn't
and it
know
was
that the drummer of Spy is the same as the one in Ceremony.
I think he might be. I actually don't know. It's one of those classic things where like maybe he like the tour worked out because he could fill in for both bands or
Sure, maybe
something.
it was just filling in. Yeah,
Maybe he's the drummer of Ceremony. He actually filling for Spy. I actually have no idea. But
yeah.
no, they were fucking great. Everyone was super cool. The show was packed out. We played second. Uh, yeah, we played second, and yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've been to that venue. It's called Expo Vintage. I think it's like Vintage by the Pound, like warehouse,
Okay.
or it might be just like a vintage offsite. I actually have no idea. Like I've never been there outside of a show.
Hmm.
It's like a vintage warehouse, and the dude who runs it is fucking sick. He like him and Matt's Massey, and I'm pretty sure like House of Fans had a hand in it. They built like the fucking mini ramp in that place, which became a stage for a while. And I just caught wind that they're doing a show there. I forget what show it is, but they're building a stage right now.
Okay.
I think it's for like 11 p.m. records.
Yes.
So I think it's for that 11 p.m. Like I think it's for that thing in March. I'm
Oh,
assuming they're
okay. Yeah.
they're building a stage like maybe in the venue or on maybe makeshift stage on the mini ramp. Who knows? But
Sure.
either way, like it was so sick. Also, like, the mini ramp is cool because you can like run up the side and stage dive into the crowd, and it gives people enough warning to catch you and shit. It's gnarly.
Sure.
It's the coolest venue. But yeah, when we got asked to play that, I was fucking so happy. I was like, Ceremony was like maybe the first like when I got out of like metalcore and deathcore when I was younger, and like someone showed me hardcore. It was like one of the first bands I think I found on my own.
Mm.
It was like Ceremony and like Brace War and like Cruel Hand and stuff like that. And like just never stop listening to that band. Every record they've ever put out has been completely different than the last one, and people hate that for some reason, but I fucking love it. And so when like I said, or we were kind of inactive when we got asked to play with them, I was like, that's sick,
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. I hope that everyone at some point gets to play a skate park because it's like it is bucket list shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
um,
and it's a different energy. People are just rowdier because it's not. They act crazy. They just go
right,
nuts.
totally. That's the thing. It's like once you put a show in an unconventional space, I feel like it's almost like it helps everyone relax a little bit. If someone's
There's
out
no
like,
security there either, right? Like, or if there is, I don't know. It's like plain clothes. It's like friends of friends and shit like that. You know what I
sure,
mean? There
yeah,
was the whole. There was the whole like. It kind of has this weird adolescent feeling where you're like, okay, cool. Like I can. It's a punk show. I'm supposed to go nuts, and you can with no.
right. It's like
Yeah.
if it's I don't know. It's a weird thing where it's like when you're at a community center, it's like, oh, if I'm bleeding, I'm gonna bleed all over the carpet, and then it's gonna be a whole
Yeah.
thing. But it's like if I bleed in the half pipe, like who the fuck cares?
They're like, dude, someone did that yesterday. You did a fucking McTwist. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah. The only time I've been able to do that is when Endgame went to play the Kill Room, which is in Hamilton, so not too far away from where you're at.
I was talking to someone about that yesterday. I was like telling someone, I was like, you got to play the Kill Room, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's fucking sick. I want to skate there and play there so bad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be a like Pacific Kill Room show, hopefully in the nearer future.
there in the very near future, there is a Hamilton like Pacific show. I'll just say that because by the time
Oh,
I mean, I don't know when this is going to come out. When's it going to come out? Do you know?
we can delay it if you want to tie it so
No,
you can talk
there's
about it.
no, there's no delay for me at all.
Okay.
I'm just wondering. So how much?
Well, here's the thing. Our turnaround time, we have set it up in a way that if we wanted to put this out tomorrow, we could, but
Gotcha.
it could be the following Friday. So still
Okay.
within January, but we could push it to
It's fine.
Feb if
I'm
you
not going to
want.
say where it is, but we're playing Hamilton, and we played there in 2019 at the same fucking spot, and it was nuts.
Okay.
And it was 2 days before the pandemic, and it was completely sold out, and the photos are nuts. So I'm really painting a picture of what venue it is for people listening when they hear it. But I think we're announcing it within the next week.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I don't care. Oh fuck, who cares? It's Hamilton. We're playing Hamilton. Come, like I don't care.
Yeah.
But
But like
we get kicked off like every fucking thing ever with no backing because I leaked a Hamilton show. Like,
have you ever been kicked off a show before because you leaked something?
no, and I got in a fight with one of the promoters a long time ago during a Gob show, and
Oh.
he almost kicked us off of it, and we were friends, so it didn't really matter. But like after really, you know what I mean? But we didn't get kicked off, so it was fine.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever been kicked off for anything. It was just we got in a fight. I think he wanted us to help load in Gob's gear, and I was like, no. Like Sneaky D's, no less. Like up those fucking
Sure.
stairs. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you literally kiss my ass. Like, no. And so I think I was late, and then when I got there, I was just like, I was really rude to him, and then he was like, "You guys are off the fucking show," and I was like, "Whatever." And then it was resolved within 30 seconds, and it was fine.
Right.
But no, I hope that never happened. I don't want to get kicked off a show for nothing.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't wish that on you guys at all. Speaking of venues, and you brought up Sneaky D's a few times.
Mhm.
As a local, can you confirm or deny that? Because for those that don't know, Sneaky D's on the main level is a restaurant, and then the
It's
venue
like a,
is
it's like a
upstairs.
Mexican restaurant, just like nachos and like
Yes.
yeah.
So the very first show that I went there, I was down. No, it wasn't the first show. It was the second show. But I was
Mhm.
downstairs I had nachos with a friend, and a friend of mine, I think it might have been Luke, if I'm being completely honest,
Mhm.
expressed to me the 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 pipeline of Sneaky D's is bands come to play here, and then in time, those said musicians end up working at Sneaky D's over the years. And I was like, "Are you
Yeah.
really for real?" And the guy who was like refilling my water was like, "It's true." And I looked up, and it was one of the members of Structures. And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I was gonna say, so it was one of the dudes from like Nick from Structures, or was it homie from fucking Flatliners? Was it the guy from fucking whatever? You know what I mean? Like Sneaky D's is like the place where like if you're like a staple Toronto musician and you work in the service industry, like you're gonna work at Sneaky D's at some
I
point in
got
your
you.
career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's funny because George, the owner of Sneaky D's and Hard Luck, like I fucking love that guy. I don't think he'd ever hire me at that place because like he knows how like he knows how nuts I am, and I know that I would not be able to deal with like his like I don't know. I feel like because we're friends, if he were to like be mean to me, I'm like, no, I can't do this. So like I don't know, I'm like a baby about it. So like I don't know, like dude, like that guy's got like two sick ass venues, but like
Mhm,
I know so many people that fucking come through there and just work there,
mhm.
and I'm like, that's where music goes to die, but in a good way because
Yeah.
they're playing shows still. They just have to get an adult job. You know, they have to
Yeah,
work.
when they're not on tour, right,
Before they had to make money, so it's like, no, it's great, but it's yeah, a lot of musicians have come and gone from there. Holy shit.
right. Um, I haven't been there in a bit, so I don't know if the structural integrity has been upgraded or it's the same or worse. But I swear, the first show that I went there, and I think
Don't say it. The floor.
it's the floor.
I knew you were gonna say the fucking floor. It's there and the hard luck. No, but I
The
don't.
hard luck, I don't notice it, and maybe it's because
I don't know.
like
I don't notice the hard luck either necessarily, but I have noticed. But Sneaky D's, I knew you were gonna say the fucking floor. No, they have not upgraded it, but it's completely to my knowledge. Like, but does it feel like a trampoline in certain spots? Absolutely.
yeah. I think
Is
the
that gonna?
first show I went there, it was I forget the other bands who were playing. Oh no, it was the first time I saw Kublai Khan and I saw Gideon. And I've seen Gideon a couple times. But it was like, that kind of like metallic hardcore with the new
Yeah,
metal flavoring, but it's like not a lot of people are moshing here, so like I think Dan was like getting people to jump, and that was just like, "Oh, we're going to get into someone's fucking nachos downstairs?"
dude, the
Like
floor, like you can't see it, but it feels like the floor in Jumanji. It's like
Exactly,
like,
exactly.
gnarly. It doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
But like that, I feel like I can safely say if it was an actual issue, they would have dealt with it years ago because that place would not be there. So fucking died, you
Right,
know.
right.
So I'm assuming maybe you know what? Maybe we're gaslighting them actually, and there's
Oh,
actually no trampoline floor.
yeah, sorry. I
Yeah,
redact. I'm
yeah.
just I'm just it's my truth. I'm just sharing my experience.
Maybe you should like just chill. You know, like you're
Yeah.
really ruining that.
Fucking
No,
chill,
the floor,
man.
the floor, the floor there is fucked up. Trust me, it's a liability for sure. Like I don't know
um, what's with you putting ketchup on everything?
who told you that.
I have my sources.
No, who the fuck told you that? Dude, I love ketchup. Yes.
What's the most fucked up thing you put ketchup on?
Did someone say I put ketchup on a cold cut sandwich? Did Luke tell you that? Did he tell you that?
I
I've
I
never.
was just I was just told that you will put ketchup on anything, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
anything?
will, but like, no, I won't put it on anything. I'm like, okay, dude, like, you telling me like, Okay, this is the problem. I would get like a fucking burger from somewhere, and I'd be like, "Can I just get lettuce, cheese, bacon, ketchup, and like pickles?" And then I'm like, "I don't want onions or like this, whatever." And everyone go, "Ketchup!" Like, making this whole fucking joke. And then Greg made the joke, and like I said something I didn't want to eat somewhere. I think we were like bickering on a tour one time, and I said I want to eat somewhere. And oh fuck, well, you're gonna eat ketchup and cold cuts anyways. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I was like, what the fuck? And it became this inside joke, and I just got roasted for it. And it's funny, like I feel like I put ketchup on 3 fucking things. It's like a burger, a hot dog, everything else. No, I don't know.
I was like, okay, those two are normal, and where's
Dude,
the
I
outlier?
swear to God, I don't know where that fucking comes from. The ketchup on, like, no, I mean ketchup's great, but like, dude, I'm not putting it on a fucking. I'm not eating a fucking steak and putting ketchup on it, or I'm not eating a fucking blooming onion and putting fucking ketchup on it. You know, like, I'm good. Like, fuck Luke.
What's the worst condiment?
Yellow mustard. I like it.
Yellow mustard.
I like if it's regular ass mustard. I think I like Dijon or like honey mustard better, but yellow mustard's fine. I just like I eat it, but like that's my least favorite, I guess. Oh, I don't know, sauerkraut. Fuck that. Like, actually, no, that's a lie. Sauerkraut's fine. Relish. I don't fuck with relish.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. If you want to fuck with the pickles, like
I love pickles. Like, I mean, I don't like love. I'm like, oh, you have pickle on everything, bacon, like fucking bacon trip.
you probably have trauma from the pickle guy at your work.
Yeah, fuck that guy. No, no, relish is just like I don't know. It's just nasty. It's like a fucking spread. Like,
I've never met anyone that rides for relish.
If you do, I feel like they should be in CAMH. I don't know. Fucked up. Maybe don't put that part in. I'm gonna get canceled for that one for sure. We'll retract that.
Okay, we'll retract it.
That one's bad. That one's bad. Relish is for people that are fucked.
Jordan, just bleep that part.
Yeah, relish for a fucking I don't know. No, you're right. No one rides for relish. Like I've never been like, oh, I love relish, my favorite condiment. It's like, oh, are you good? Are you okay?
Yeah, right. Do you need to be checked into a psych ward? Like what's going on?
Yeah, like this is asylum activity. Like, are you good?
Right. Okay, a couple other fun out of context questions.
Oh God, I'm ready. Let's go.
Who is Tammy Cornpipe? Jordan is out of his chair.
Talk to.
Dude, I've said I'm trying to up my Nardwuar game for the interviews.
This is fault. Oh my God. Okay. Tammy Cornpipe is me and my friend Brendan's alter ego when we get really drunk and put on wigs.
Okay.
And I think he made up the name and I made a video with it on a voice filter. Is that where you saw that video? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Not you. Okay. Oh my God. The deepest cut. This is worse than Nardwuar. Like,
when's the last time Tammy Cornpipe made an appearance?
I feel like she changes her name every other week. Like my friend Donnie, like for some reason, his favorite like name for a drag queen is like Stefanessica. It's like Stephanie and Jessica put together. I'm like, it's not funny. Like Stefanessica.
That's combining two white people names.
I know, and so
I love
like
that.
We would just pick a bunch of random names. I think Tammy Cornpipe was it, or there was one. Her name before was Connie Conpiper.
That's too many C's.
I know, dude. Like, we all have ADHD and learning disabilities, and we think it's funny. Like, we think it's fucking funny, dude. Tammy Cornpipe, get the fuck out of here with that one. That got me so.
Now you got my brain. I'm trying to combine two white lady names as one.
Jessica Michelle.
Giselle?
Yeah. But then the last name's got to be like something like boring, like a Toronto street name, like Giselle Bathurst.
If there's someone listening to this podcast who's willing to name their newborn Giselle Bathurst and then whatever your last name is.
Well, yeah, the hyphen.
Literally, all this liquid death is yours. I'll just put it out into the world because if that happens, I'd be like, wow.
My friend Donnie like made up we were like, what would our whole joke was like me my friend Donnie. Actually, Donnie used to play in Wildside. He was a guitar player.
Mm.
Right? You ever see like on my fucking social media the big gay dude with the mustache? He's always like the big fat guy. He's like fucking mosh like an idiot, and like at like the most normal places.
Sure.
He's nuts. And me, him, and Brendan talk about going out and drag. Just like one day, would we just shave off like our facial hair and like go and drag to a bar and like incognito try to like free drinks or something? It's like fucking stupid. And
Is
we're
that
like, yeah,
a thing?
no,
Incognito drag?
no, I don't think so. But I think that we were just gonna do it because like we were like it would just be weird if us three ugly ass dudes did it. I'm like, we should just do it, and we just never have done it. But we've thought of so many fucking names over the years. That's why probably Tammy Cornpipe and Connie
I see.
Cornpipe.
I see.
But Donnie's maybe I'm ruining the premiere. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. But Donnie's like drag name that said he wants to do. It's so boring. He wants to call himself Drag Queen Man, but pronounced like Drag Queen Man.
God.
That's it. And then we're like, dude, that's like so boring. He's like, it's great. It's not. So that's the lore of fucking Tammy Cornpipe. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's a no name. Like,
You know what's funny? Because we've had to reschedule a couple things for this call. I was
Yeah.
calling Jordan on the way here, like producer Jordan, and I was like,
Yeah.
there are a couple things in here that I can't remember exactly the context of because we've changed the date so many times. So I'm glad that I asked that because it seems to have made your day.
dude, that I just like I haven't thought about that. Besides, like, and that's something like me and two other people say to each other, and like kind of like in like close quarters kind of thing. So I'm like, in the world, I forgot that I put that on the internet. So like the world knowing that is so trippy. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
It's
Now
very-
it's extended because now it's on the podcast forever.
it's very excited. Yeah, of course.
One of the last questions, which is not a deep cut. I think this, if people follow you on Twitter or on social media, I feel like people can pick up on that.
Lay it on me. I'm
Why do you hate the Arkell so much?
oh fuck! I don't know, man. It's because okay, dude. I got a story. Who gives a fuck? All right, I worked at a denim shop, and the one dude from the Arkells came in, and I was like, we had the same producer at the time, and I was like, hey, like we have the same producer, and I was like really nice to him and talked to him, and I had fucking hemmed his pants for him, and he was like such a dick to me, and I don't know why. It wasn't a dick. He was just like really off-putting and rude, and I had like normal questions, like, oh yeah, like, like, and we was the only ones in the store, so like it wasn't like embarrassing him at all. I was like, it was too. I was like, yeah, so what's going on with the new record and shit? Like, what's going on with you guys? Like, you guys or whatever? And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, didn't you guys put out something? Yeah, like a month ago. Like the way he said everything was like so rude to me, and I was like smiling, like being like, yeah, like I had to fucking customer service face, you know, like. That's just a dick, and I was like, all right, fuck that man forever. Even like they come to me and be like, hey, we're gonna give you $1 million. I'm like, I'm gonna kill you. I don't know. Fuck that band. Also, I don't know. I hate that kind of music. It's just like I can't even talk. I'm in a fucking pop punk band. Where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? I don't know. I just don't.
I'm surprised that I don't know. Maybe it's just like the Toronto area, and you can be plugged in a little bit more. I didn't even know that they were from Toronto. But I was just kind of like,
yeah, one of those Canadian bands, you know, like there's one of those Canadian bands that like plays stadiums and shit, and like good for them, they make money. But I'm like, I'm not listening to that. No.
Yeah, I will write stadium inspired hits, but I will not.
I will go back and listen to Duck Duck Goose before I go and fucking listen to the Arkells. You know, like I will go back and listen to I don't know any other bad fucking X.
Has that been the only in-person run-in that you've had?
Yeah, and I know I'm talking shit about that one dude. I don't even know if he was in the band. I just know he works for them. He works for them.
Oh, I see.
I don't even know if he's
Guilty
in the
by
band.
association, Jordan.
Well, I just fuck that band forever because that one guy. But no. Oh, I have one other one I can say because I think this is really funny, and
Sure.
I don't really care if I ever tries to come kick my ass or anything like that. Because like, what's he gonna buy a plane ticket? Like, no. I loved the story of the year growing up. I loved story of the year growing up, and I met that dude, and he was like insanely rude to me and made fun of me for wearing my. Look, we went to an emo night in like St. Louis or something like that because it was like after like a show. I think it was like Halloween, like Story had played or something, and he was guest DJing after or some shit, and he was just really rude to me. And we heard that if you could come in with your laminate, you could get in. You don't have to pay the $10 or whatever. And we're like,
Oh, okay.
we'll just use thanks to get in. So he gives it, and he was like, "What, you guys on fucking tour?" And then he roasted us, and then I told him our band name, and he roasted us, and I was just like, "All right." And then I thought about kicking the shit out of him, and I didn't. So I left. And that guy has no idea who I am because he was fucking wasted. But yeah, fuck that man too.
How did he roast your band name?
Like I said, what the fuck does that mean? Like shit like that. And I was like, I don't know what a story of the year means. You get a fucking deviant art. I don't know, just like that. Like you just like. I think you just like at the moment I got defensive, he just started roasting me. Like I was like,
I
I didn't want to pay any money to get in. We
Yeah.
probably get in.
I'm not
And he
here
was
to
like,
choose
"Oh,
violence. I'm here for emo night.
And I'm like, okay, so that like, I mean, I definitely whipped that fucking Valley Village Story of the Year CD as far as I could over a no frills. So
Whipped like this, not like this. We do that for bands that we like.
I went like that. Yeah.
Oh, the double whip.
So yeah, no, I mean, oh man, this is like I love this. This is like a hater podcast for me today. we got Toby Morris. Like we got fucking
how many enemies am I making from this conversation?
A guy who works on the a guy who works for the Arkells. I don't know, dude. These are just people who are mean to me. So fuck them.
Pickle man.
With the Fedora Pickle Man, though, I will swing on site. He's done. He's done. If he comes into my bar, I'm taking the charge. I think that sucks. Poor fashion outfit. Like I'm good.
Yeah, I'm gonna subdue you with that fedora.
Yeah, just like. Maybe I'll get into fedoras, actually. Maybe it might be another personality. Might do that.
Yeah.
I actually have a really terrible hat beside me that someone thought it would be a really great hat for me to have. Like this bucket hat. And I was like, oh, I won't be wearing that. And then I was like, no, I definitely won't be wearing that. So.
It's the classic. Oh, what's the brim? Oh, okay. It's a no for me.
Yeah. No, that's a
I'll stick to the gag hat, please.
That's like I put that hat on sometimes and take photos and like send it to the group chat and like that's about it. So I should probably throw it out, but whatever.
Last question. And this is a selfish question, and I'm only thinking about this because you have the Degrassi like photo on the back.
Yep.
Is it very cheesy or touristy to be the minute that you play Toronto for the first time, you're like, yo, was Drake gonna come to the show?
No, it's funny. I don't think Drake put Toronto on the map for sure in the last 10 years. I think don't think anyone ever does that, but I think the corniest part was all the Drake merch that Toronto bands make. Like, but we did it too. So like,
okay.
I mean, like, I think it's just like we just hop on a trend. So we did like the OVO owl thing. I'm almost positive we got a cease and desist from that. I don't remember.
What?
Yeah, I'm almost positive we did, but like, I mean, I don't really care. Like, I'm sorry. we made like $250 off of it. That guy made like fucking millions in the first quarter.
Let's chill out.
I don't really give a shit. I mean, I get it. We did rip it off, but it was, I don't know, it was a playful rip off. It had the OVO owl, and it said Ontario's very own.
Yeah.
October.
What's very funny, and this will be this is just a personal anecdote. So when Endgame played Toronto for the first time, it was like everyone's like, yo, like, you know, we're doing, you know, all these Drake jokes in our group chat. And then there's this, we were putting out a split at the time that we had a song called Playing for Keeps. And I think it was our vocalist found a clip of Drake saying on a podcast, like, he's like just going off on his, you know, Drake x Kanye, just, you know, spiels of whatever. But he said, you know, this ain't a game out here. We're playing for keeps. And I was like, yo, that's
different. That's sick. Did you play that as an intro?
Yeah. But no one knew that it was like, I was like, oh, did you like that Drake sample? And they're like, what? Like no one caught it. It felt that is a little,
I'll be honest, that's a little strange because people ride for him so hard here that I'm like really surprised by that, but also kind of sick. That's a hard intro.
Yeah. But what's funny about that clip is that out of all, like, there was, I think in the, you know, when you watch a video on YouTube, you get all the recommended ones. I watched, I guess he was like on an SNL bit where he had, like, the bit is Drake like gets, like, someone jokingly says something that's like kind of like sarcastic, and then he writes like a diss track about that person.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember it too well, but I remember like the scenario of someone saying something to him and being like, I'm going to write about this. And it's like a fucking diss track and it's like funny as.
But everyone's like, oh, did you not tie your shoes? Ha ha ha. And it's like, everyone's on to the next thing. And it's like, Drake's like, like fantasizing about just like destroying this
Didn't have
man
a
with his
fucking
bars.
yeah, just like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like he makes the diss track. Yeah, dude, I remember that so fucking well.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the reason I bring that up is like in his like like diss track song, he has a line where it's like, "You used to be my friend, now we're foes for life," and I was like, there's a song on the new Endgame record that's called "Foes for Life," so it's like trying to connect those two worlds through just like a random Drake ism.
Like, yeah, that no one's gonna know, but it's a great lyric, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yeah,
Well, I
very much
mean,
so.
they might know now that we have this podcast out here,
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So Jordan, this has been super fun. I'm glad that we finally got to make it happen.
Of course.
As you know, the very last question that I ask every guest who comes on the show is a favorite mosh story that they would like to share. So that's anything that's first your mind, something gruesome, wholesome, happened
I
to
got it right
you.
now. I got it right now. I got it right now in my head.
Got it right now. Hit me with it.
The year is 2008. I go to see Gravemaker, 4 Year Strong, and Set Your Goals. I love Set Your Goals and 4 Year Strong. Gravemaker is new to me, but I really like the song Time Heals Nothing. It's the only song I know by them because I just heard them like a month before.
Bury Me
And
at Sea is a perfect record. I just want to
oh,
say
it's
that.
great. It's fucking great. And so I'm like 17 years old, just getting into like the heavier side of getting into like hardcore, I guess, as opposed to like deathcore, like whatever, and all the adjacent genres.
Right.
And so whatever, Gravemaker plays first, and I think they open with Time Heals Nothing or they end. I don't remember, but either way, it's worth of Reverb in Toronto. It's like this old ass venue and it has 2 pillars, but they're like little poles, but they're like on opposite sides of the pit. And most people hang around them like on the side. That's kind of where the end of the side of the pit is because we're ends because you can't really go any further.
Sure.
And so I'm 17 years old, probably weigh 105 pounds, fucking on the side of like this, and Time Heals Nothing starts, and I'm like, let's go. I'm at the front of the stage, and I'm like running across the front of the stage, like think I'm like Mr. Tough Guy. And then fucking Dan O'Connor from 4 Year Strong knocks me out.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Just didn't like it wasn't like target, but it was like I mean like he like ran like he like moshed, and I'm sure he hit me like this, or I don't know if it was like this on the side, but I got knocked out.
It was a
And
stray limb.
yeah,
Of
something
some
like
kind,
that. I don't
yeah.
really remember too much, but I got knocked right the fuck out and fell over, and everyone kept moshing, and I got picked up, and I was just like stood on the side with a tummy ache, like, ooh, for, like fucking the rest of the show. But yeah, no, I got my ass beat by Dan O'Connor, and I told him that on Warped Tour, and I swear to God, he was like, "No," and I was like, "Damn it."
No.
I was like, "Dude, you're a homophobe now, bro. You're canceled."
That is so
You're
funny.
fucking done. Like, no, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But no, dude, that was like,
I'm
that's my
about
favorite
to hit send right now.
career ender. No, yeah, like that was definitely the craziest mosh story was that. Do I have any other ones? No, but there's a really cringy video of me moshing to Agitator on the internet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave it there and have people try to find it, or do you want to drop what video it is?
It's in Canada. I'll just tell you that much. Agitator in Canada, and it's a really awkward.
The treasure hunt begins.
Yeah, it's very corny. There's a couple. I posted the clip before on my Instagram story, and I got all my friends were like, "Dude, you look fucking dumb," and I was like, "Oh, I do," but that's y'all wore khaki shorts and little Vans. Come on.
Yeah. It's 2023. It's time to leave that in the past.
I mean,
Jordan, the super fun chat. Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug, or anything you want to send the people off with?
I don't know. I don't know. Keep listening to Like Pacific is all I'm gonna say, so I can keep doing things. But also, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have more music come out this year. I got another band. I'm starting with some guys from Friction and Raise.
Okay.
I'll be doing vocals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have a new thing coming out, but that's about it.
Is it hardcore or?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very sick.
I don't know. Shelby Morris, don't come to my fucking house and kick my ass, I guess. I don't like you, but you'll clearly beat me up. That's it.
Right. No, it's really cool. You know, as we get into more people within other genres, like I think with the trickle down of some things that are more in the emo and the pop punk world, like it was very important to me to to keep it Canadian, as Maddie Matheson has once said, and have you on. So dude, this has
Thank you.
been a great chat. I hope that we're gonna be crossing paths, if
Of
not
course.
once, multiple times this year.
Yeah, totally. I'm assuming you're coming to Hold Your Ground this year again, yeah.
Yes, of course.
You're reworking it. So,
Right.
and then I'm trying to think of what else is in Ontario that's happening that is like a bigger show. I don't know. I don't think anything coming up really. Is
Yeah,
there?
well, there's a couple things. I'm going to Montreal for Montreal Madhouse, in
That's what that
February.
is. Okay, no, so
Yeah,
it's Montreal. Okay, okay.
yeah. So,
Who's playing that?
all Montreal bands, which I'm so excited about.
Is did I don't know if this is a thing. Did Gasm get announced on that? Like, are they doing it like randomly playing like
Gasm is not playing.
what
Maybe they're
category
doing
504 is?
Category 514 is. Prowl's obviously
Gotcha.
playing.
Mm.
I'm just pulling up the flyer. Excess,
Yeah,
Desecrate, Kennedy, Deadbolt, Bruise Weight, Cloned Apparition, Phase.
I love Phase. Oh man. That's fun
Yeah,
as fuck.
should be a good time.
Yeah, that's sick as fuck. When is that?
It's February.
Oh, so it's soon. Holy shit, it's like a
Yeah,
month away.
yeah. Gotta book my flight.
Fucking like, yeah. I'm going to see Fly in March in Los Angeles, and like I gotta book my fucking flight. You know that's way Montreal.
Yeah. So Jordan and I have to get out this call to book some flights. But dude, again, thank you so much for coming on. This was really
Of course,
fun.
man. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you guys.